to the Vanarama National League Highlight Show. It's been a roller coaster September and the excitement didn't let up this weekend. Over the next half an hour we'll bring you all the action from another round of games in football's fifth tier. Coming up, Sutton stumble at the racecourse. Dover climb to the top of the table. And Dagenham leave it late to beat rock-bottom Torquay. One game that didn't kick off this weekend was Eastleigh's match against Chester, which was postponed after the pitch was deemed as unfit for play by match officials. A club statement said a match official was called in on Friday afternoon to view the pitch, and following the inspection it was deemed safe to play. The information was relayed to referee Mr Savas Yiani on Friday afternoon. Upon arriving at the ground, the match officials took the view that player safety was at risk and decided to postpone the game. The issue is being addressed immediately and emergency work will commence on Monday. So we start at the racecourse ground for what was arguably the game of the weekend on paper. Just under 5,000 fans turned out to see if Wrexham could become the latest team to topple Sutton United, who had reclaimed top spot in the league last week. Marcus Kelly had the supporters believing when he opened the score on 16 minutes. Chris Holroyd with the run down the right, his cross cut through to Lewis John, allowing the midfielder to sweep in unmarked to score his first league goal since February 2015. Into the second half, and the hosts' failure to deal with a simple set piece gifted Josh Taylor the chance to fire on goal, only to be denied by Luke Coddington. Paul Doswell's side were pressing for an equaliser. Kieran Cadogan this time with the shot, beating Coddington, but not the crossbar. It could have been game, set and match with just minutes to spare for Dean Keats's men when a routine goal kick was poorly defended and the visitors found themselves outnumbered. And Tumba Masanka was unable to hit the target though. And just when a win and the top of the table was in sight, they conceded their 7th goal of the season. Ross Lafayette spoiling the party in spectacular fashion with his first goal for Sutton. Wrexham missed the chance to lead the table for the first time, but stretched their unbeaten record to 8 games.
First half, I thought we played well. Thought we played really well. They are Sutton. They put you under a lot of pressure, test you, a lot of balls in the box, and I thought the lads stood up to it. First half, we broke really well. Second half, I didn't think we were that great, but we created a chance in second half, and a bit naive. You have to put them to the sword, and we didn't do that.
We were pleased actually. Take a point. It's a tough place to come. I thought over the whole aspect of the game, we probably deserved to take a point from the game. After the first 15 minutes when we played well, they sort of really had the lion's share of the first half. Got in front, we weren't playing great, but I thought we fought our way back into the game, deserved a point.
Early promotion candidates Dover Athletic hosted Solihull Moors at Crabble. Chris Kinnear's men thrashed Chester 4-0 in their last match in Kent. Solihull in their previous 4 have been beaten 3 times. With 10 minutes to go, a pinpoint Paul Lewis cross was headed in by Ryan Bird, his 5th of the campaign. Having now lost only 1 of their last 7, Dover moved top of the National League, 1 point clear.
It's been very good with the new side, as we've said before. So we just got to keep everybody's head right and just keep applying themselves. And that's fortunately what they've been doing. But on Tuesday's going to be a really hard game again on the 3G at Sutton there. But we've done not bad on 3Gs in the past. So hopefully we can go there and give a good account of ourselves.
16 points and 17 places separated Dagenham and Torquay ahead of their clash. The Gauls had managed to do the double over John Still's side last season, but were without a win in all 12 matches so far in this campaign. The hosts are the leading scorers in the 5th tier and started their attack from this Jack Howells free kick. Scott Doe with a powerful header denied by Vincent Durrell. In comparison, Torquay had scored fewer than half of Dagenham's tally, but they had a golden opportunity to take the lead here. Josh McCoy with the goal at his mercy, fluffing his lines. Daggers fans had Mark Cousins to thank after the break, particularly with this one-handed save from a Jamie Reid volley. The game finished with a lifeline for Stills men when a foul on Craig Robson by Sean McGinty gave the referee no option but to point to the spot. Fajiri Okunabiri with the confident conversion to seal another injury-time victory for the second week in a row. Torquay manager Gary Owers says they deserve more for their effort in East London.
It's a poor result, a bit of a negative question. I thought as a team performance we were excellent today. And another day we could have won the game if we'd taken our chances. We could have been 2 or 3 up, but we didn't, and we paid the penalty for what was a really soft penalty decision against us late in the game.
There's always pluses and minuses to take in every game, but we ain't going to kid ourselves. The performance was not what we are trying to achieve, but on a positive, we got the result, and you know we've proved in many games this season we keep going right to the last minute. We've got lots of last minute goals, and one of them today has given us the 3 points.
And what are the positives that you'll take from the game today? As
Lots.
You say, there's
the way we played, the spirit, and the way we passed the ball in the first half, the way we seen the game through, obviously until the later stages of the game, and you say things go against you when you're at the bottom, and it feels that way at the moment.
Macclesfield Aldershot, strangely the home team hadn't won in any of the previous 7 fixtures, and the away side this time went into the clash, winning their last 2 on the road. But despite recent history, the hosts couldn't have started any better. Within 20 seconds at Moss Rose, Scott Wilson worked his way into the Aldershot box, giving Ryan Lloyd a tap-in from close range. 1-0 to Mac, Lloyd's first goal for the club. John Askey's team were in control and looked to double their advantage before half-time. Scott Wilson held the ball up well on the edge of the Aldershot box, setting up Danny Whitehead, who forced a save from Jake Cole. Into the second half, a Danny Whittaker corner found Lloyd. He was denied a second by Che Alexander on the line. Close to the hour mark, Elliot Durrell fancied having a go from outside of the area. From 20 yards, his second of the season, stylishly extended the lead for Mac. A rare shots attack in Cheshire maybe deserved better. Matt McClure took the ball down excellently but couldn't get the better of Shwan Jalal. And with good football in mind, Askey's side came close to a third before full-time. Whitehead was denied for a second time by Cole. 2-0 it finished. Finally a home win between these two, and Macclesfield's 4th victory in their last 5 games.
After picking up points from promotion hopefuls Dagenham and Redbridge and from Dover, Ebbsfleet had high flyers HALIFAX next in line at Stonebridge Road. The hosts were on a mission to make it back-to-back wins for the first time this season, while victory for the visitors could see them go top of the table. Billy Heath's side fired the first warning. Josh McDonald with a surging run and cut back to Adam Morgan, but his effort was saved by Nathan Ashmore. Ebbsfleet responded, Darren McQueen squeezing his shot past Nathan Hott before Sam Johnson palmed away the threat. Both teams continued to search for the opening goal, but went into the break goalless after Matty Koslow saw his chance smack the upright. Sean Shields was the one to finally find the back of the net. The winger, who missed the last 3 games, opening his account for the season. And after waiting patiently for 1, 2 came along at once. The Northern Irishman on hand again to double the lead and his tally, along with 3 points for Daryl McMahon's side. That's a 3rd win and 3rd clean sheet in a row for the Fleet, but defeat for HALIFAX sees them drop 6 places to 10th.
Before this weekend, Woking had won 5 of their last 6 matches in the National League, working their way into a playoff position. In those 6 games, Anthony Limbrick's men scored 14 times. A week ago, Fylde was seen off as Woking came from a goal behind to win 2-1. The next test for Limbrick and his team would be a first ever meeting against former EFL club Hartlepool. Craig Harrison's side were also in good form, losing only 1 of their last 6 in the 5th tier. Inside the first quarter of an hour at the Laithwaite Community Stadium, Charlie Carter was through on goal, but a firm drive was blocked by keeper Scott Loach. After Carter's chance, Hartlepool took control in Surrey. A miss-hit Jonathan Frank's shot was turned in by Ryan Donaldson. It was his first for the club since moving home all the way from Plymouth. As Woking tried to reply immediately, a neatly crafted move ended with Regan Charles Cook going for goal, denied by the feet of Loach, a past England under-21 international. The home team kept on asking questions of the Hartlepool defence into added time at the end of the first half. The equaliser finally came. Jamie Philpott now has 2 goals this season for Woking, but even though he's been given his second, it's clear the decisive touch came off Louis Lang. After the interval, a long Loach ball wasn't dealt with by Woking's defence. In nipped Devante Rodney, who beat Nathan Baxter, but was beaten to a goal by the post. Hartlepool's opponents were the only side left in the league who hadn't drawn a match. They went down the right for a winner, but a shot from sub Bobson Balling was kept out by the excellent Loach. Then at the end, from another move down the Woking right, Limbrick's side went even closer. Another replacement, Ini Effiong, crashed an opportunity against the bar. The clash ended 1-1, a first draw for Woking, as Hartlepool make it only 1 loss in 7.
Guiseley signed former Leeds United youth team captain Simon Lenigan this week. The 23-year-old didn't play a first-team game for Leeds, but had loan spells with Halifax and Alfreton before joining Rotherham in November 2015. Alan Devonshire made 2 changes to his side as Maidenhead looked to return to winning ways following a defeat last time out at Chester. They welcomed Lenigan's new club to York Road, who were after their first 3 points away from home. The Magpies made the perfect start. The long throw into the box headed on by Jake Goodman, but fumbled by Joe Green. Ryan Upward on hand to force the ball over the line to register Maidenhead's fastest goal of the season. Still probably reeling from the shock, Guiseley found themselves 2-0 down after 5 minutes. Midfielder Harry Pritchard started and finished the attack after exchanging passes with James Comley. That's his 3rd goal of the season. The home side were relentless. Upward almost getting on the scoresheet again, but his header was cleared off the line. They put the game out of sight when they scored their 3rd, though, before the break. Comley going it alone this time, outpacing Rob Atkinson before dinking over Green, ending a near 3-year wait for a league goal. The best chance of the second half was also created by the hosts, Adrian Clifton shooting just wide. A convincing display for Maidenhead. Guiseley are yet to win under Paul Cox.
There's a lot that needs doing. We'll probably take a few bloody noses before it comes good. That's my experience of being in the same situation time and time again. But we will achieve our goals. So sometimes you learn a lot about yourself, sometimes you learn a lot about the people around you, and sometimes you learn a lot about your players after days like today. And I've learned a lot.
We were brilliant today from the off. We come out firing. I think we had 2-0 up in 4.5 minutes, and I think that was game over for them essentially. They couldn't get out. Obviously the 3rd goal came, killed the game off. The second half I thought we managed it. I thought that we made it scrappy, made subs, play breakdown. There wasn't much on offer from either team, and as I say, we'll take that, and obviously we go Tuesday night, we go again.
This was a first meeting between Leyton Orient, who had lost their last 2 at home, and Fylde, who had scored in all of their National League matches so far this season, the only side to do so. Inside the opening quarter of an hour, a free kick for Fylde's all-time leading scorer. Thanks in part to a deflection, Danny Rowe made it 1-0. The goal run goes on. Even with the ability to find the net, the visitors were still in search of what would be a first victory in 6. After the break, Rowe wanted more, beating Charlie Granger again from distance. The 27-year-olds now got 6 for the season. With 20 minutes to go, Orient finally got going at the Matchroom Stadium. A Jake Caprice cross was headed over by Macaulay Bonne. Right after Bond's effort came another aerial challenge inside the Fylde box. A James Dayton delivery eventually found its way to Joby McAnuff. The veteran midfielder's now got 2 in his last 2 at home. A nervous climax for Fylde wasn't eased by a late red card for Lewis Montrose. Another ball into the box from the O's was headed towards goal by sub Matt Harold, but Fylde held on, winning for the first time in 6.
I know probably how they feel in the fact that we've had games like that this season where we've been on the end of a result that we probably didn't deserve. They certainly merited something from the game with all the pressure they had, but for my lot, brilliant. They were really resolute. They dug in there, put the bodies on the line and got that little bit of luck that's been sort of evading us, if you like, from the start of the season.
I thought the goalkeeper should have saved the second one, and we didn't get pressure on it. You know, we're getting punished for it, even though teams aren't really dominating us or creating a lot of chances. I think the 2 centre halves were very good today, and we couldn't really fault what they did. But in the end, we've lost the game and conceded 2 goals. So, like I say, I think if we can stay in games and keep it tight and go ahead in games, I think we can get a great control and some results.
Tranmere travelled to the capital this weekend with an unbeaten record against Saturday's opponents. But without a win in 3 and without a goal in 3, Mickey Mellon's side were coming under scrutiny. A goal 5 minutes before the break would have been a good time to score for either side, but it was Tranmere who were denied the lead. Connor Jennings unable to beat David Gregory. Equally, 1 just after half-time would have been timely. Some fancy footwork from Louis Dennis outfoxed the Rovers' defence, but the end product was cleared away by Scott Davis. A free kick from the edge of the area almost broke the deadlock, but Adam Buxton's driving shot flew just over Gregory's goal. Rovers were heading for their 4th game without a victory when James Norwood made sure the trip back north was more comfortable. Just days after urging his side to win at all costs, the striker handed it to them in injury time. The club's 2nd goal all month allowed them to snatch the 3 points.
Boreham Wood were in the northeast going for their first victory over Gateshead in 5 matches. Back in April, the home team walloped Wood 4-0. Gateshead started this one positively. On the half-hour mark, fullback Scott Barrow drove forward, teeing up Wes York, who got the better of Grant Smith. 1-0 to Gateshead, a first goal for York since he scored earlier in the year against Boreham Wood. Right before the break, an opportunity to equalise after Bruno Andrade was denied by James Montgomery. Dan Holman shot wide. Into the last quarter of an hour, Gateshead had a missed chance of their own. Sub Jordan Burrow failing to score this time and seal victory. The away team were looking unlikely to prevent a 3rd straight loss in the 5th tier until bad home defending was seized upon by Ricky Shakes, his equaliser coming in the 87th minute. Boreham Wood still haven't beaten Gateshead, but from a disappointing match they make it to 18 points and move up to 11th in the table.
I think the second half, when we had the lead, I would have liked to have seen us push on more. Certainly we had a couple of chances, but not enough to kill the game off. And as long as the game stays 1-0, you know that you can always get pegged back, especially if they get any set pieces or whatever. So yeah, I would have liked to have got that 2nd goal, and then that would have killed the game.
Barrow were also doing business this week after signing Grimsby Town midfielder Chris Clements on a 3-month loan deal. The 27-year-old has scored 4 goals in 16 games for the Mariners since joining them from Mansfield Town in January. His new team hadn't lost at Hawker Street all season, but were coming into this one off the back of a 3-2 defeat to Sutton United. Maidstone United, on the other hand, were unbeaten in 4 games, winning 3 of them. Last season's leading scorer Byron Harrison had the best chance of the first half. The striker, who stands at 6'3" on the stretch, but not able to get enough power on his shot in front of Lee Worgan. The decisive moment of the game came on 52 minutes when Johan ter Horst found himself in on goal, only to be taken out by keeper Joel Dixon. Penalty to Maidstone. Joe Piggott stepped up and sent Dixon the wrong way to score his 5th of the season, joining Zavan Hines as the club's joint highest scorer. Jay Saunders' side were on their way to their 3rd away win on the bounce when Joe Reason came close to doubling their lead, his close-range shot bouncing off the post. The spot kick enough in the end to finish the month with just 1 defeat for the visitors. Barrow have won 1 of the last 10.
Disappointed we didn't go in winning at half-time, and then we shot ourselves in the foot 5 minutes into the second half, give away a penalty. that gives them the impetus then to sit in. I don't think Joel Dixon's had a save to make in 90 minutes, but once they go 1-0 in front, put men behind the ball, it's difficult to break down.
171 goals were scored in September. Here's our top 5 from the month. Dover Athletic go top of the Vanarama National League table after they edged out struggling Solihull Moors, while previous leaders Sutton United could only draw at Wrexham. Dagenham and Redbridge move up to second after a hard-fought 1-0 win against bottom of the table Torquay United. Macclesfield Town leapfrogged Aldershot Town into fourth after beating the Shots 2-0. FC HALIFAX Town dropped out of the playoff places after they lost 2-0 at Ebbsfleet United, who've won 3 of their 13 games. Relief for Mickey Mellon as his Tranmere Rovers side ended a run of 3 games without a win, with a 1-0 success at Hayes Lane against Bromley. And Eastleigh and Chester are now a game behind the rest after their match was postponed by the referee due to a waterlogged pitch. There's still plenty of action to come on BT Sport as we kick October off in style. Last season's playoff finalists Tranmere Rovers host Leyton Orient at Prenton Park. That's exclusively live this Wednesday night on BT Sport 1 and in 4K. We end this week's highlight show with the 9th change at the top of the table. So how long will Dover hang on to the number 1 spot this time? We'll see you again soon.